Well, joining us now is the party's former Westminster leader, Ian Blackford. Hi, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us on the programme. Will he be a good leader?
He will be. I mean, he's a guy that I think has got an awful lot of very positive traits as his personality. He's a very engaging character. He's someone that cares very deeply about people. I think you can see that in his past, and someone that's actually got tremendous empathy. But above all else, he is a tremendous team person. So he will govern in a different way from Nicola. We're moving on to a new generation. The first Scots Asian to become our First Minister, someone that's only in his 30s. I think people are going to be very positively surprised by what Hamza does as our leader.
He's not done a great job in health, though, has he? I mean, there's all sorts of issues as far as the health department is concerned, and he was in charge of that previously.
Yeah, but look, I think at the end of the day, every health service right across the United Kingdom has really struggled in the post-pandemic period.
Scotland worse than most.
Well, look, at the end of the day, he's managed to get through the negotiations with the health unions without losing a single day to strike action. He's reached agreement with the health unions. Yes, of course, there is a backlog that needs to be dealt with. We need to get the numbers down, but over the course of the last few months, that's been happening. We still have a health service when people need it, when it comes to acute care, does really quite a remarkable job. And I think people are going to see that he will be very much focused on delivery, whether it's the health service or whether it's elsewhere, and people should judge him as what he does as First Minister over the course of the coming months.
What should the First Minister's first job be?
I think what the First Minister has to do is show that they can bring the party together after this election contest. He'll do that.
And pretty divided.
It will be a big test.
52-48? I mean,
yeah, look,
couldn't get much closer than that.
No, it is a close result, but I think what he will demonstrate that the party's been right to give him the authority to lead. He will have a big tent. He's talked about that. He needs to make sure that the Scottish Government is focused on delivery. We need to show that we're worthy of the trust of the people of this country. And of course, then we need to move on from that. We've got a general election coming down the road in a year, 18 months' time or so. And he needs to make sure that he leads and re-energises the independence campaign, that we have a discussion about what kind of country that Scotland should become. I know these are challenges that Hamza is very much ready to lead on.
Not elected by the people, of course. Should he have a snap election? Some suggesting that would be a good way to unite the party again.
Well, I think one of the things that will happen today, of course, is that every MSP is going to have a vote as who they want to elect as their First Minister. We've got a UK general election coming down the road, so people will have...
18 months away.
It could be 18 months away, but people will have their say on the SNP and Hamza Yousaf at that point. But also let's remember that 2 Labour First Ministers were elected in a similar fashion. This is not unusual for a way for things to be done. Of course, he's standing on the SNP manifesto that every MSP stood on in 2021. There's a mandate from the electorate there. He will get on and do the job, make sure that we're dealing with the cost of living crisis, make sure that we're giving proper leadership to people. There's a tremendous job to do to show that we can grow the economy in Scotland. I'll certainly be working with him on that, and my role as his business ambassador, and show that there's a bright future for Scotland. You know, we've got a fantastic opportunity with green energy to create a new industrial revolution, if you like, a green industrial revolution. I think people are going to be very surprised, positively surprised by what Hamza brings to this role.
Do you think he will use the next election whenever it comes, as the former leader had suggested, Nicola Sturgeon, as a referendum for independence?
I think what he will do over the coming period, he'll set out his stall. He wants to make sure that he reaches out to people in the SNP, in the wider Yes movement, but of course, crucially, right across Scotland, no voters, undecided voters. Let's make sure we have that debate about what kind of country. The debate, to a large extent, has been focused on process, and that's important. There is a mandate for an independence referendum that the Parliament has been granted by the people of Scotland, but crucially, it'll be about how we change Scotland for the better. And I hope, as a consequence of that, driving up support for independence. Yeah, in the end, this will happen.
Crucially, not by the Parliament at Westminster or indeed the Supreme Court.
Well, but at the end of the day, who has the right to choose Scotland's future? Is it
But
Rishi
I think you'll
Sunak?
find it's the Supreme Court.
Well, at the moment, what has happened, of course, is Rishi Sunak is not respecting that there is an independence majority in the Parliament. We will lead the independence movement. He will do that, and we will seek to build support for independence. In the end, Westminster can't continue to say no if the people in Scotland are saying yes, they want a say in their future.
Michael Gove, the Levelling Up Secretary, said he couldn't think of a single thing to praise of Nicola Sturgeon during her time in office when he was asked at the weekend.
My goodness, that's rather remarkable, isn't it, from Michael? And I'm disappointed in him. At the end of the day, Nicola Sturgeon's led us through 8 years, and I think crucially gave fantastic leadership, in particular through the COVID pandemic. I think everyone will remember Nicola coming into our living rooms through Sky Television. I think to give really first-class communication, real leadership, real guidance, right through that crisis. I'm grateful for the way that she has led us over that
What do you
period.
think she'll do next? Do you think she's done with politics? She says she's going to take some time to learn to drive.
She's still a relatively young woman, so I think she's got an awful lot to give. Let's wait and see. She's not going to walk away from the SNP or the independence movement. She'll be a good supporter of the Scottish Government of Hamza Yousaf, but no doubt that her undoubted talents, she is a fantastic communicator. I think we'll see an awful lot more of Nicola Sturgeon yet.
OK, it's good to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining
Good
us
to
as
see
always,
you.
Mr. Blackford. Thank you.